Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Healing Train. I am your conductor or your host, B.Von Squires. And today we are sponsored by Spirit Source Connection, where we believe that we are multidimensional, energetic beings, and all components of who we are must be addressed in order to achieve homeostasis. For us, that means that our mind, our body, and our souls are all aligned and moving in the same direction. But today we're here because it's the healing train where ordinary people come to tell their extraordinary stories of trauma to triumph, from struggle to success. We know that everyone's journey is different and there's going to be some ups and downs and twists and turns along the way. The passenger that we have for you today is going to come and she's going to bring authenticity. She's going to bring vulnerability and transparency as she talks about her wonderful journey through her trauma healing. The passenger we have for you today is none other than Miss Jovan Campbell. Miss Jovan, can you please come on and introduce yourself to our community?
Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here on this Palm Sunday. How are you?
Thank you so much for that warm introduction. Now, I tell you what, the way this works, if you're not for sure, is I'm going to tell you I wrote a book and it's called The Energy Harvest, a spiritual model for the enhancement of their life. Now, there are four phases here in this book, and we're going to walk Miss Jovan through each one of these phases. She's going to talk about how
Mm.
she was able to identify the trauma that she's going to speak about today. She's going to talk to us about how she had to adapt a certain mindset and how forgiveness played a big role in that mindset for healing. Then she's going to tell us all about what she's been able to achieve as a result of her healing so that she can show us the vision of hope. Then we're going to wrap it up with the sustain phase where she tells us how she's able to just maintain that smile on her face, regardless of the downs and twists and turns along the way. And with no further ado, we're going to just jump right on in. And Miss Jovan, thank you again so much for being here with us today. We're so honored to have you here.
Thank
Now,
you for having me.
absolutely, absolutely. And so identifying trauma is not easy for any of us because a lot of times it has become normalized, whatever that trauma is, has become normalized. And somehow we just minimize it. We don't really know that it's trauma until at some point in life we begin to experience certain triggers and start to wonder, well, why am I acting this way? Why is that affecting me the way that it does? And so I was able to trace those feelings back to specific traumas in my life. And that's how I was able to identify some of the trauma that I went through. And for you, what do you have that has been able to help you identify the trauma?
Well, I think my trauma started when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with being a type 1 diabetic after having a rare skin disease called pemphigus. The treatment in which they had to get rid of the pemphigus caused me to become a type 1 diabetic. I was already on the borderline. Diabetes runs in my family. My paternal grandmother had it. My dad has it. One of my siblings have it. So I have a family history of it, but I'm the only one in my family who is a type 1 diabetic. And I think that's where it started. And then it kind of just, different things happened within my lifetime. When I was in my 20s, I got another rare muscle disease called polymyositis. And it caused some damage to my lymph nodes. And, eventually when I was about 25, I lost my sight. And 4 months later, I was placed on dialysis. And I did dialysis for about almost 6 years before I got a kidney. But in the midst of all of that, I got a bad infection that's named sepsis. And I had to spend like 6 months between the hospital and, rehabilitation, learning how to sit up, stand, walk again. It took me about 6 months to do all of that. And they had to remove a good portion of my hip. So now I'm a partial wheelchair user. And I think that's where the trauma for me started.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I am so sorry you had to endure so much. But by seeing that smile on your face, I see that you have healed and endured very well. But
Hmm.
during the time, what was it, a span of like 12 years, 17 years? What was it?
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
Okay, so during that time, I'm sure there were many different emotions that you experienced. Did you have help? Was your family there with you? Did you feel supported? We want to kind of know what your mindset was at the time that you were becoming aware of all of these different ailments that had to have been shocking, that had to have been like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can only imagine what that would be like. And we're asking you to kind of walk us through some of the feelings that you were feeling during that time.
So, I took a psychology class, and one thing we learned was like the 5 stages of grief. Well, I think it was the same for me. I felt hopeless. I had a period when I was angry. I had a feeling period when I was sad. But my family and some of my friends and my significant other in different stages of my health issues, um, they were always there. My dad is a tough love kind of guy. And when I lost my sight, he gave me about 2 weeks to have a pity party. And then he came in the room one day and he gave me a swift kick in the pants. I didn't like it at the time. And I was angry with him for many years. But when I look back, I realized that I was so angry. And I realized that that's always been his method for me. Like he pushes and I push back.
Mm,
So um that's kind of like the back and forth between me and my dad. I have a really, really good relationship with my family. Um, my mom is the soft love. She's the one that's, very nurturing. And, my dad is like, okay, this is how we're gonna do this or figure it out. So I had a lot of support. My siblings were very young at the time. My baby sister was like 9. My little brother was like 12. And then I have another brother who's 3.5 years younger than me. And I got a lot of support from them. On the days when I didn't have any hope for myself, they had hope for me. Um, when I was going through dialysis and I was on sepsis and I was so sick that they wasn't sure if I was gonna make it, their prayers kept me alive. Um, my religious family, they gathered around me and they prayed night and day,
mhm.
and that it restored my hope.
Yeah.
Um, I talked to God. I started talking to God a lot. Um,
Mm,
when I started, especially like when I first found out I was losing my sight and then my kidneys started to fail, me and God had a lot of heart to hearts and I was angry sometimes. But, um, I just, a lot of my church family said, you will come out on the other side of this and you will have a great testimony.
mm,
And even though I didn't believe them at the time, they kept me strong. My mom and my dad and my family, especially their prayers. Some days I was so sick that was the only thing that pulled me through until I was strong enough to stand on my own two again. So my family and my friends and my significant other at different points, like I said, were so supportive, were so loving. They
mhm,
gave me the strength when I didn't have the strength. So yeah, I was definitely fortunate because I know people that go through things and they weren't as fortunate as to have, loving people in their life that could hold them when they weren't strong enough to hold them or work for them when they weren't strong enough to work for them or carry them when
mm.
they weren't strong enough to do it on their own. So I was definitely fortunate in that sense.
Oh my goodness, yes. How fortunate you were. What I've been able to understand in my journey as well is God will always put people in our path to
Yep.
support us.
Yep.
And it's so amazing how, even though on the outside looking in, you're thinking, oh, how cruel, how could God, how could He, all of these kinds of things. I know, and I see that look on your face because I see that this has been something that has drawn you closer to Him I know
Mm-hmm.
that's the way it was for me. It drew me closer to God. Um,
Mm-hmm.
through the things that I was going through. For me, I didn't have the love and support of the ones I wanted it from, but I
Mm-hmm.
received it from those who were
You
able to
need it.
give it
Yeah.
to. And that is what I am so grateful for, because we never know where our help is going to come from, but we always know that it definitely comes from the Creator. It comes from Him,
Yeah.
who is our source. And then He uses resources to fulfill His promise to us, like through the people, right? He loves us
Yes.
through people.
Yes.
So I'm really happy to hear you say that. And for anyone
Mm-hmm.
that is looking on today, we want you to know that you're not alone.
No.
You may have found out this week that you have an ailment that you had no idea was going to befall you, but we want to help you understand today that this is not the end. This is the beginning of a journey that's going to draw you closer to your
Oh yeah.
spiritual connection,
Oh yeah.
right? Closer to your spiritual connection.
Yes.
And not only that, to show you what you are actually made of. I know, Jovan, I
Yeah.
know that you have been able to see, oh, this is what God put in me. Oh, so
Yeah.
you gave me some
Definitely.
confidence, huh? You gave me some courage.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're
Yeah.
some perseverance, all of these wonderful things
Yes.
that God has, all these wonderful attributes and spiritual principles that God has made available to us in order to heal. Wow, this is so amazing. So, as we continue to move forward, I would really like to know, and I'm sure our listeners want to know as well, what was the mindset that you had to adapt in order to arrive or to begin healing? I know you said you were angry, so I know there was some forgiveness that had to come in place to take the place of the anger. I'm sure that there was some faith that had to come to take the place of the fear. What was it for you in your mindset that helped you adapt and overcome?
Well, like I said, I started doing a lot of praying and a lot of talking to God. And, in the beginning, it was why me? Not even so much what a
Mm,
cruel God, but like, why me? Like, I try to be the best person I can. Why is this happening to me? And one day, one of my church sisters said, well, God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers.
ooh-wee.
She may not have said that in that manner, but
Mm,
that was the gist I got. So I just realized like this was my cross to bear in in a way.
mhm,
So I started to first um I had to accept the fact that I had to accept the new me. I had to accept the fact that I couldn't get up and just go outside and jump in my car and go where I wanted to go. I had to figure out how to do things differently. I had to
mhm,
figure out how to cook differently. I had to figure out how to take care of myself. But at the same time, I was so sick because I was on dialysis
mhm,
that I also needed help from my family members. My family members definitely helped me when I was so sick, when I was in the hospital for weeks and months. Um, you know, I had to come to a new realization and accept the new Jovan before I could get rid of the fear, before I could get rid of the anger, and just realize this is for a purpose. Like there's a
mm,
purpose in my storm. So,
mm,
um, once once I got that tough love from my dad, and the nurturing love from my mom, and this the love of my siblings, as well as again my my spiritual family and my religious family and friends. um those emotions, they also went through with me. They went through the fear and the sadness, and and then the acceptance, because once I accepted that this is the new me, then I could pick myself up, move on, find adaptive ways to do things, whether it's cooking or cleaning, or now I can use my computer. So once I got a kidney, I was able to go to a what they call a vocational rehab.
Okay.
So this gave me the training that I needed to be a contributing member of society again. So it gave me the skills I needed to be able to use a computer, to be able to check my emails, to be able to, you know, cook safely and clean safely and properly.
Mhm.
Um, I had to get some training in all of this to, overcome the obstacles that were now my sight and my mobility. I had to learn how to, like I said before, walk again. So through all of these, I was going through all of these different emotions, but then I just finally got it. Like, I can do this. Like,
Yes.
it may be a different way, but I can do it. And those things allowed me to be able to go back to work and do an internship. B, start a nonprofit organization um, called One Heart, One Vision, so that I could provide, along with my co-founder, which I met while I was doing an internship. Um, I could help other women with community support and services, and pull up the next woman like other people. When I got to my vocational rehab and I saw that they were doing stuff, and they were blind and they were low vision, and they were doing stuff that I never thought I could do,
Mhm.
before. So it allowed me to be able to help other women to get out of that hopelessness or get past that hopelessness stage. Give them resources so that they could do the things that I'm doing. Because at one time I didn't know where I was going. I made a promise to myself when I lost my sight, because I was in my last year of college, that I would figure out how to go back to school and get my degree. At that time, I had no idea. I met someone in dialysis, Miss Lisa Baxter, and she's the one who actually gave me the the main resource, which is the New York State Commission of the Blind, to be able to get these services, to be able to do vocational rehab, to be able to do orientation and mobility, all the things that you need to be a successful blind person, to be able to do that internship where I met my partner, Rashida Bunton, and we started this along with another young lady who passed away, Tiffany Agard. Um, it allowed me to be able to do all of these things and just stand on my own too. And we're human. We have our days when things are just not going right, but I try to remember, just take a deep breath,
Yes.
you know relax,
Mm.
and get back to it. So all of these things that I've gone through, it's also made me a stronger person. I read somewhere that you are some of your experiences. Well, the sum of me being a diabetic, me losing my sight, me being able to me being on dialysis and then getting a kidney transplant. If I never did any of that, I would have never met some of the most wonderful women that I have the privilege of meeting, of helping, and working with.
Oh yeah.
So I realized that there was a purpose.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if I would have even been a part of this wonderful organization that I had the pleasure of co-founding. Um, if I hadn't lost my sight, I wouldn't have met my business partners. I wouldn't have never let a lot of the people that I hold dear and dear to me now.
Sure.
So, that is all that helped me to see that, what, it's okay. It's okay to, you know, feel the way you feel sometimes. Just pick yourself up when you're done.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a bad day. So that's the emotions I was feeling. And, that's it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for all of that, you know, vulnerability that you just brought to us. Thank you so much for helping us understand what that process was like.
Mm,
To feel sorry for yourself only for a moment, and then, move into action, positive action. What can you do? Okay, we know what we can't do, but what can we do? And so you were able to build that confidence in areas that you never imagined that you would ever, be building that confidence
no,
in.
no,
You were
no.
able to see your ailments as a purpose for meeting people and bringing new things about for other people who are also suffering or going through things, learning how to adapt with disability, and not seeing it as a disability, but as a message that can be carried to women and men, of course, who are also working through their own challenges. This is so amazing to hear you say all of the things that you were able to do. And yes, Miss Lisa Baxter, our wonderful previous past presenter, thank her again for sending you
Yes.
to us,
Yes.
and some of the other people as well. She is definitely a champion of the healing train. We love Lisa Baxter over
Yes. Yes,
here.
we do.
And, Jovan, as we continue to move through this process, we're going to be
Hmm.
talking now. I know you were able to achieve some wonderful things. Um, your foundation, your nonprofit organization, some wonderful friendships and connections, and all of these wonderful things you've been able to achieve. And so, as we move into the achieve session, I
Hmm.
would like for you to tell us what is the most meaningful achievement. I know there's been a lot of them, but what is the most meaningful achievement that you've been able to achieve as a result of your trauma to triumph and your struggles to success?
I think I have two.
Okay.
I can't narrow it down to just one.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go with the first one that's probably, so as of June of 2023, well, first in maybe August of 2020 or 2021, during the pandemic, I decided it was time for me to go back to school. I had the necessary skills that I needed.
Mhm.
So I went back to school during the pandemic. And as of June of 2023, I got my associates in public health,
Ooh,
which is
yay.
something that I always promised myself. So I feel so great that I was able to keep a promise to myself. Um, also, um, we have a program at One Heart, One Vision, and it's our civic engagement program. It's called the We Vote for Us program. And it stands for Women Engaging in Voter Outreach, Talking, and Education. And to me, it's an achievement because it makes me feel good when I go out into the community and I can engage disabled people
Mhm.
um, to either register to vote to make their voices heard or
Yes.
do a seminar to educate them on how voting may work, the
Yes.
accessibilities that they make. So those are two of the things that are like my biggest
Ooh.
achievements thus far. And I'm looking to have more. I'm definitely striving to have more, and I know I will. But as of this point, those are my biggest achievements.
Oh, and I can see why. I can see why, going to get a higher education
Hmm.
as a goal, that was one of my goals as well. And it definitely propelled me into a new arena. It helped me understand that I can do this. I can think. I can
Hmm.
retain information. And from
Hmm.
there, of course, I went on. So there are many more degrees in your life, I'm sure. And
Yes.
the ability to help others with something as important as voting and having their voices heard. Yes, we commend you, definitely commend you on that one as well. Wow, this is so amazing. Guys, Miss Jovan Campbell here is a dynamo. She has beat the odds. She has overcome any kind of negative thoughts that her mind may have been telling her that she couldn't do. She said, just watch me and see what I can do. And along with the God of her understanding, who is her number one resource, and her family and friends and her church family that gave her all the support that she needed, she's been able to achieve some wonderful things. And so now, as we continue to move on, we want to ask you about sustaining, because we know some days get rough. Man, I tell you what, not every day is roses. Not every day is going to turn
No,
out
it's
the
not.
way that we would
No,
like.
it's
And
not.
and that's just for the rest of us that don't even have any kind of
Yes.
physical challenges such as sight or mobility. And so I can only imagine that it might even be a larger struggle for someone who has to contend with those things. And so can you please help us understand how you keep that beautiful smile on your face and how you stay so happy and bubbly through life and the ups and downs and twists and turns?
Um, I think a big part of it is in the back of my mind. I'm always thinking about what my mom says. She's always told me my whole life, and my dad. Um, to number one, kill people with kindness, because people are not always nice. And I do face, barriers where people discriminate against me because I'm blind. I go into a job interview and I didn't get it, and it's solely based on my blindness, not because I don't have the credentials. I'm sometimes overqualified. Um, and I just remember that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice,
Mm.
and to kill them with kindness. But also, what sustains me is the fact that I know that there's more for me to do. Like, I know that my journey is not done. Um, I got a public health degree for a reason. I want to help my community, being the disability community, to live quality of life, not quantity of life, meaning that I want to teach them how to eat better, how to prevent some of the diseases that plague us that we can prevent.
Mm.
Um, if we do have a disease, how to be the best in it, whether it's hypertension or diabetes or a stroke or lupus or all of any of the things that plague many of our communities. I want to be the one that helps with that. I also want to pull or assist as many blind and low vision people, even though our focus is on women, and we do help men. I want to pull up as many people as I can, like the person before me did, like the people who before me motivated. You can do this.
Yes.
How they give me the resources, how they did all of those things for me. I want to pay it forward
Yes.
to as many people as I can, and leave a legacy behind.
Oh, yes.
This is what I want to be my legacy. That when people many years from now, when I'm no longer here, when they think about me, you know, in addition to the things that, make me human, that they have these things to say. Well, I remember when Jovan helped me do this. Or, I remember when One Heart, One Vision helped me or got me this piece of equipment or whatever it is. So that's what sustains me, creating my legacy, for myself, for the organization that I helped co-found, um and for my family. I want to be that's what sustains me. I have two young nieces that keep me going, um on days when I may not be feeling that great. One of them are always there to motivate me.
Mhm.
So those are the things that sustain me as a person.
Oh my goodness, that is so wonderful to hear, that you want to leave a legacy, that you're motivated by what you can do for others. And that is so beautiful. Your selflessness, is very apparent. And that can only come by the grace of God. That can only come by somebody who has total acceptance of the purpose for your pain, total acceptance for your life. And I'm just so happy that we were able to encounter you today. You have really been a vision of hope for our community. And thank you so much for bringing all of that to the table today.
Thank you
Well,
so much for having me. I
absolutely.
really appreciate what you're doing. Um, Sometimes it's just something like this that makes a person want to get up off their butt, when they're feeling hopeless, and try something. And that sometimes is the first step to somebody just getting out of whatever they may be experiencing, or distracting them from whatever they may be experiencing, to feel better about themselves, to fight, to do the things that they want to do and they need to do. So thank you for what you do.
Absolutely. It is definitely my honor. And I believe when you talk about legacy, I want to be known as someone who was able to show people that there is life
Yeah.
after trauma.
It
that
is.
thrive.
Yeah,
You may have to find a new way to do it,
absolutely.
but it is possible. You are possible. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that we want to talk about today is you are possible regardless of your situation, your circumstances, you are possible. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for us today. And Miss Jovan Campbell, can you please let everyone know one last time where to reach you and how to get in touch with your wonderful organization?
So the organization is called One Heart, One Vision, and we can be reached by email at empower, that's EMPOWER at ONEHEARTONEVISION. Or you can reach us at our website. You can look at our website at oneheartonevision.org. Our phone number is 718 574, I'm sorry, 564 5077. And my personal email is Jovan at One Heart, One Vision. That's JOVAN at ONEHEARTONEVISION. And I'm just gonna leave our tagline, which is just because you're blind doesn't mean you can't have vision. And thank you so much for having us there.
Oh my goodness, that is so awesome. Just because you are blind doesn't mean you can't have vision. Woo! That is
Right.
so powerful. Well, we're going to thank you once again for meeting us here on the Healing Train. And I am your coach. If you'd like to reach me, you can reach me at b.vonsquires@gmail.com. Or you can also reach us at spiritsourceconnection.com. All right, guys, I'm telling you, we had such an amazing time today. And I'm so glad that you were able to experience Miss Jovan Campbell with me today. If you have a story, if you would like to come on the healing train and choo choo with us, then please reach out and let me know. Please reach out and contact me. And in the meantime, I'm going to be praying for you and asking God to bless you real good. And anything that you are manifesting, please keep up the positive work. Please keep up the faith because that thing that you're manifesting is on its way to you now. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Take care. Love you.